Welcome, SwitchedOn crew. Dan here with today's signals around using your energy for good. With me is Robert Mackenzie, owner of Macka's Black Angus in Australia. A great quote from Robert in the episode: try and help more people make the world a better place. Come join us and enjoy the show. Hello, everybody. Today, I want to welcome Robert Mackenzie to the show. I'm excited to have him on. Robert is the owner of Macka's Australian Black Angus Beef Company, and he has some really interesting approaches to what he does with his animals and his land and other things. And I'm excited to have him with us. And I'm going to ask Robert to give him a little bit more background about himself, and then we'll dive in. Welcome, Robert.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dan, and welcome all of your followers and all of the listeners. So, yeah, my name's Robert Mackenzie. I'm the fourth generation beef producer in our family. I'm very proud of that. The business the stems back from 1884, where my grandfather's aunties raised my grandfather on the east coast of Australia, a couple of hours north of Sydney, in the Hunter Valley. And in 1884, they had some cattle, and it's just slowly grown from there. And it's really good, I suppose, to be able to say that, I'm the fourth generation beef producer of an amazing family operation, and I'm glad that I'm in the business. We export beef all around the world. Not much into the US, but maybe after today we might be there on the menu.
Yeah, it looks like you guys have a pretty big export business to a lot of the Asian countries, from what I could gather. Is that your biggest market?
Yeah, look, our biggest market was the China market. This year it's taken a hit. It's taken a big hit. So we had to diversify relatively fast and open up some other opportunities. So we're moving product into the Middle East, into Palestine, Singapore, all those Asian countries. Now it's going really good for us. And yeah, it was a mistake to have all our eggs in one basket. Look, I still value our relationships with some great people in China, and we just hope that we're back in there in the strength we were in 2021.
Yeah, well, that's great. In getting to know you a little bit and know your operations, the one thing that I found really amazing was I was looking at your beautiful farms, and I was commenting to Sarah. I said, if I have to come back as a cow, I really want to come back on one of their properties, because they're the most beautiful looking places I've seen. You have some beautiful pieces of land.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. We've grown a lot in the last 12 years, and we've strategically bought property in key locations along that east coast of Australia, where the water's abundant, produces great grasses, great cattle. It's funny you say that. On a LinkedIn post, and I use LinkedIn a lot, and I love it. And on a LinkedIn post, I had a bull and a cow and a calf there, and the bull was scratching himself. We've built some of these cow scratchers, and the bull was scratching himself on this scratcher, and the cow was scratching herself, and the calf walked over, and I think the comment was, "Wow, Mum and Dad, thanks for living here." and that's actually what I want the cows to think. I want them to think, "Crike, this is a great place to live," because I think it's a great place to live, and I want them to think the same.
Well, it definitely has a lot of natural beauty to it. So wanted to explore a little bit with you about that relationship with the land and your animals. It sounds like you have a pretty unique philosophy and approach to that. Can you share a little bit about your thought process there?
Yeah, I think it's who I am. I think respect is key to success And whether that's respecting, your customers, or whether it's respecting your neighbour, but in your comment there, it's respecting the animals. Look, I think we have to respect the animals, and we do. We do respect the animals, their upkeep, their well-being, their happiness, their health is paramount to our success. And it's actually easy to do. It's easy to give them what they need. Just think, well, if I was here, what do I want? And then just give them the same.
Yeah. Just recently watched a movie called Herd, and it's about a lady that has a large herd of horses in Colorado area, but she's turned it into a large scale healing retreat for people from all over the world. And
Yep.
they come and they bond with the horses, and the horses heal them. And in the movie, there's actually one individual that came there and bonded with one of her cows versus the horses. And, she ended up having an amazing healing experience just from the energy transfer from the cow. It's really, if you haven't seen the movie, it's quite enjoyable one to watch.
Well, I'll definitely be watching that. And I'm glad you said that because we just donated, it was funny. We just donated a cow and a calf, and also the cow's pregnant, to a school so they could develop an agricultural, I suppose, section in their school. But what really sold it is they adjoin a retirement home with a lot of old people, and I said, can they enjoy the animal at the same time? And they said they can, because the fence is right there near their garden. So I'm hoping that the elderly in this retirement home can get, I suppose, the same experience as what you just said that lady got from that horse. So look, cows can be friendly and they're quiet. When you see a baby calf, can you imagine being in a retirement home and going out and seeing this calf grow, and the cow, and coming over to eat a piece of bread? So I'm hoping that cow gives this retirement village some love and some joy too. So I'll definitely be watching that.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful show, and the lady that wound up having the relationship with the cow in the show, it was stunning. She was laying in the pen, laying with her head on the chest of the cow, and she wound up after a week being incredibly impacted by the love and the compassion that was transferred between them. So it definitely reframed for me even more the impact that the relationship can have.
Maybe the cow doesn't judge.
I think that's a great point, right? It's just no judgment and just acceptance and unconditional love. Yeah.
No, for sure. No, I'll be watching that.
Yeah, good. That one's a fun one. You'll have to ping me after you watch it and let me know what you thought.
I will.
When you look at this, kind of the whole process of developing your business and developing your philosophy, as I was telling you in the pre-show, one of the things that struck me was a statement you made about how you were approaching to build the well-being of Australia as a tremendous market and a tremendous place, and in there you were going to thrive because the whole thrived. And I just think that lens, as you and I talked about, it's so impactful for today's world to think that way. And you had some brilliant things to say about that, so I'd love for you to share a couple thoughts around that.
Yeah, look, as I was saying to you earlier on, I think it's so much easier for me to promote our country and what we deliver. Now, the same as your great country, and I've been there, and I love it, and I respect it, and I respect the people. But obviously, where you live, you think's the best.
Right.
And in some ways, I think that ours is the best. We've got to be very diplomatic here. But look, it's easy for us to promote our green, our clean environment. There's no doubt. Look, we're 0.3% of the world population. You know, we're 26 million people. We've got a massive country. Lots. You know, you can drive a long way and not see any people, and it's pristine, and the waterways are pristine, the air is pristine, and the grass is pristine, and it's easy to promote that throughout Asia when that's what they want. They want the fresh, green, clean products, and we're the food bowl of Asia, and we're close. And it's easy to get the product there via air, via sea. And if we can all work together as a collective, and let's promote that good news story, and it just flows on from there. That, you know, we're a seller of Australian beef, like many people. But I don't care whether you buy my beef, as long as you buy Australian beef. Throughout those Asian countries, and there's enough room for Australian beef, and there's enough room for American beef. There's enough room for South American beef, and we all have, you know, different thought process how to promote that. It's just that we promote it as green, clean product,
Yeah.
and we have great support from industry, the government, to help promote that. So why not promote that and promote it as a whole? And we do that well.
Yeah. I was years ago, I was really struck that I'd never really thought about just how big the landmass of Australia actually was. And when I got more educated about it, I was actually so surprised at just how big the area is. And like you were saying, for the amount of people and the amount of landmass, it's there's a lot of pristine areas still untouched or very little touch.
Yeah. Well, I drove right around the outside one year. It was 26,000 kilometres, so it's a long way.
That is quite a trip. Yeah,
it was.
Oh my gosh. Another thing that we talked about that I wanted to spend a little bit time talking about was this approach you've had to kind of building the family legacy and continuing it on by branching out your business to give opportunity for the next generation. And I see a lot I've seen a lot of it in business, you know, here, where that thought process hasn't really been thought about. And as a result, the next generation down, it just doesn't carry on because there isn't lanes for everybody to be in. And I think when I read that, it really struck me that that was a neat thought process that you've gone through. So love for you to share a little bit on that.
Look, it's very important for a family business, no matter how big, no matter how small. It's very important for the family business to remember that there's a next generation. And you got to remember, if you grow up in a family, and every day, you know, mum and dad's talking about this business, and it's a part of your life, and you spend your weekends or your afternoons or your mornings or your holidays working in that business. I think it's naturally occurring that you expect that, or you want to be in that business. But as you get older, you might resent it a little bit. But how do you make it exciting for your kids? How do you make it that they want to be a part of it? Now, this is funny because I was the only child, and I haven't experienced it. I haven't understood, you know, how it would happen if I had siblings. But I looked at it very early on that, you know, my kids, and I love them so much, and they just mean the world to me. And I've always been that really hands-on father. And I wanted to make it that they still wanted to be involved in the business, because how good is it to still have your kids want to spend time with you? And I'm lucky at the moment, and they're, you know, 28, 26, 25, they still want to, be with me, which is good, but I've got to make it exciting. Now, just because I'm doing this doesn't mean that they have to be a part of the business. That's entirely up to them. But I just hope one day that at the moment they look back and say, well, I'm glad I was able to take this path, and I was glad I was able to take this path and make something great, because I have opened up a couple of different arms of the business where it could sustain a family, and it could sustain their family if they wanted to. Now, if they choose not to take that, that's okay. It's just a part of our whole umbrella that will be run as a whole. But I just wanted to make a couple of changes, and I think that they're exciting changes when they jump in on it. Especially beef sport, you can travel, you meet amazing people like you and Sarah. And look, I've met so many people around the world from this, and it's been amazing. So that's what I've done. I've tried to do it different and open up different arms of our businesses so it can sustain family members if they choose to.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's great foresight and thinking ahead and doing some planning there that I think is obviously it's paying off already for you. The another thing that we had talked about and just exploring a little bit is this concept of respect, and you had mentioned it, and the respect is the key to success is the quote I had written down, and that is just a powerful statement and a powerful concept, and I'd love to get you to talk a bit more about your operating principles around that.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about that because I'm passionate about that, and I believe it's true. So let's just take through my whole life, it was rammed into me to respect people, and I've always seen my mother and my father do as much as they can for other people, and that's what I do. I know in the pandemic, I donated beef jerky to the New South Wales Ambulance Service. We gave food to a charity in Sydney that fed homeless people. I actually got on and did some social media right at the start and thanked first responders. I suppose the first responders came from what I saw in the US. I actually reached out to CNN. They never rang me back, and said, can I give my thanks to what's going on over there? We do it like donating that cow to the school and the retirement home. That's all respect for other people and give back as much as you can. And as I said before, it might be only giving just a little bit, but that little bit is a massive amount for one person or for a charity. But we have in Australia Are You OK Day, and it's just, I suppose, for mental health. And I thought in 2020, mental health is pretty well up there. So I put myself and my team man the phones and spread the word. If you want to have a chat, just give us a call and let's have a chat about anything. So respect is everything. So we go into business. I respect our competitors. I respect our customers. For instance, I've been to China 14 times in the last 5 years, and I respect their culture. I respect their values, and I respect, how they do business. And I've developed some amazing relationships in China because I go there with an open mind and an open heart. And it's a tough place to do business. Don't get me wrong. But you get knocked down, you get back up again. But no matter where you do business, you might have some issues, but there's a lot more good business results than bad. So if you have a bad one, just don't blame that on your next customer. respect them and just get into it. But the most is respect the land, respect the cattle, respect the people that work for you, respect the government, respect all that. I think if we all respect, it makes the world a better place. I've always hoped that after COVID, more and more people would respect and value life and care about other people. And I hope that that's what we get out of COVID. I hope in 2021 we look back on 2020 and see how tough it was for so many people, and put our hand out and try and help more people, make the world a better place. Obviously there's a few issues out there at the moment, and let's hope that that gets resolved.
Yeah, we definitely are in a time that some of what's going on, I never expected to be seeing it, in my lifetime, some of these things that are manifesting. But I do think the hope that you have that, we all look at this and that as we move forward, we can operate with kind of more respect in all ways. And, the probably the biggest thing I've been learning over the last 7+ years was really, I had gone the corporate route, and so I had gotten pretty far away from nature in my day-to-day life. But nature was always so profound on me whenever I went and spent real time in it, from the ocean to the mountains to wherever I was. And I found that the more I respect my interactions and my time with nature and really get calm in nature, that the better I become as a human in the way I operate. So you have a real gift of, what you operate is, you guys are operating in some wonderful nature, but it is, I think it's important for all of us to not lose that connection.
I agree. I think it also helps respect yourself too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So another question I ask everybody is around, if people could walk away with today, with one thing to take away, one idea, one comment, one thought, what would you want people to walk away with?
Let's respect more people. Let's respect our family, respect our friends, respect our neighbours, respect other countries, respect other cultures. And that goes for those cultures, vice versa. I think respect can go a long way. And in a time where we need that respect to bring countries and communities and cultures and trade together, we need to show that we respect everyone. And that's on the government level too. That's on the business level, that's on the personal level, that's in the street, and that's at work. And I know that the US needs that as much as Australia and any other part of the world. Let's start 2021 as a fresh. All right. So forget our past and everything's moving forward, and shake hands, respect, or you can't shake hands now. You might have to clip the elbow. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's my word. Respect.
Yeah. That's a good reminder. I was watching a documentary last night, and the individual was saying, look, we're all so hard on ourselves. Be kind to yourself, be sweet to yourself, and then that sweetness will come out. And I do believe that there's so much that we all are comparing with everybody else, and all the judgment and all this stuff, that if we can learn to be kind to ourselves, then that will ripple out to others. So when I listen to your, that respect, and I just think of, man, if we can all just let's start 21 being kind to ourselves, and let that ripple out to being respectful and kind to everybody.
I agree. You mentioned energy when we spoke earlier on. You're driven by energy, and I think I'm the same. I have a lot of energy, and I like to try to pass my energy off to other people, and I use my energy for I suppose for good. And everyone has energy, hidden energy, and once you start to release it, I think it just compounds and just gets better and better and better. I think we all need to just look at ourselves and say we're good people, and let's start afresh, and don't hesitate to reach out if there's a problem or ask for help. I know in Australia it'll be the same over there. We have, our government has a lot of avenues to reach out, whether it's trade, whether it's personal, whether it's mental, whatever it might be. So don't hesitate to reach out if you've got some issues or some problems or some advice or whatever it might be. But we're all good people. Let's just give that positive energy, to everyone.
Yeah, definitely. So the last question and wrapping up is around my cauliflower moment question, and this is really around if you had a belief that kind of wound up not working for you and taking down a road, and you had to reframe it. What does it strike within you? And you had a really, in our pre-show discussion, you had a really cool take on this. So I wanted you to kind of articulate out what came to your mind as I had brought that up.
Well, as you said, you didn't like corn flour, but now
cauliflower, yeah.
Oh, yeah, but now you do. I didn't like Brussels sprouts, and I still don't like Brussels sprouts, but I tell myself they're good for me. I think I've never had that. I've always seen the positive. I choose not to see any negatives, and there is no negatives. You've got the ability to work around things, make things happen, make things change. So I've always looked at everything as a positive and a learning curve. And even when I went to school, and I struggled at school, I left school when I was 14 and 9 months, and went and worked on the farm and started a couple of my own businesses, whether it was milking a cow by hand, growing some vegetables or whatever it is. I just tried to always look at the positives. So I'm a little bit different there. I had no negative experiences. So I probably did, but I just was strong enough to say that's not negative.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you reframed your schooling experience to be a positive by saying, hey, you know what? This isn't the right path for me. I'm going to go charge down this one.
Yeah. I'm that type of person. If I say I'm going to do it, I do it. For instance, when my son was born, that was 26 years ago, I said, I'm not going to drink anymore. I haven't had a drink for 26 years. So that's pretty committed, isn't it?
That is pretty committed, but it's fantastic. That's really, really admirable and important in operating life and business. So, well, listen, it's been wonderful. How can people, reach out or get connected with yourself and your company and your products?
Oh, look, I think you could probably add me on LinkedIn, Robert Mackenzie. Add me on LinkedIn. You might be able to share that link.
Yep.
Or Instagram, Macka's Australian Black Angus Beef, or just Google me, Macka's Australian Beef Australia, and just reach out and say g'day.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
All right. Well, perfect. Well, thank you for your time today.